Hey, okay, welcome back. Let's go ahead and do my makeup for August. I have done some rearranging here. So I cleaned out my medicine cabinets and I've got two here. This one is the one where I'm focusing where I usually get ready. So in this container here is where I've put foundations and primers and SPF. Down here is where I have my skincare, so any type of moisture serums, AM skincare, PM skincare, eye creams, things like that. Down over in this other section to the full right, it's where I put my contact stuff. This is where I do, this is eye cream, but this is actually the below surface of a lip product that I dug it out, and I'm going to try frankening later. And then this is not Laneige Sleep Mask. This is actually the below surface, that what's left of my contour stick, because I really want to see how much use I finally get out of that. So when I'm doing my makeup, usually I just have everything in my container, and I'm going to switch that out. Okay, so let's look at the container. So this is where I've been keeping all of my stuff. Down on the bottom is where I usually do like a liquid eyeshadow, eyeliners, lip liners. I do have a couple of like mini lips in there because they're part of my project pan, sharpener, things like that. In the middle drawer is where I have other hodgepodge stuff. This is actually my contour stick. This one's empty, but this is where I keep it and use it when I have a freshie. And then I also have in here some eyeliners, not eyeliner, but eyebrow stuff, concealer. I do have a primer that I only use when I'm using the Hourglass. I've got some color corrector, and I've got some powder and more eyebrow stuff. And this is a blush that I had to franken because I dropped it. All right, so the rest of what I have going on up here, we're gonna move this out a little bit. Let me see if you can actually see everything. Maybe might have moved it too far. Okay, so I was keeping everything, including foundations and sprays that I was using for the whole month in this spot. I am going to do a little bit of reorg simply because I'm keeping all of the foundations up here now. And I'm going to do the sunscreens, I think, as well. So it'll allow me some space to do things like keep this palette in here, which I don't have space for currently. So things that I'm going to take out for this month, this palette here is going to go out. The Hourglass palette, let me see if I can do this. I got a lot of great movement here. I am flat on all of these now, and I've just got a little bit of doming here and maybe a smidgen of doming here, which means if by the time these come back in for sale again, I will give myself permission to get a new one if I like the ones that are there, because I've been using it, I've been liking it, and I've been trying it in different ways. So that's coming out for the month. And then this Patrick Ta, She Goes to the Gym, is going to come out for the month. I use this, I would like to say, at least 25 plus days of the month, and it barely looks like I did anything in here. I don't know, can you see that? Let me see if you can see that. Like, you can't even, you can maybe see right there that there's some dipping. But honestly, it looks like I barely touched it. I am losing the embossing here. I use this. I used it a lot. I don't know. That's so pigmented. That's going to last me for the rest of my life, I fear. All right, so She Goes to the Gym. That's going to come out. This Jason Wu blusher in the purple color is going to come out. I use that a number of times over the top. The blush in the Hourglass palette and these other blushers I used as toppers with the She Goes to the Gym. This Makeup by Mario highlighter, I just dipped into it a few times, honestly, because I was trying to focus on the Hourglass. So this is going to come out. This Sigma Creme Brulee, I did use it quite a bit. However, I did learn that this expires after 12 months, which means January. So I'm going to keep this in as part of a project pan. I'm going to keep it in along with the Morphe because I want to try to get as much movement as possible. So that's going to stay. This little moon dust from Urban Decay in the color Glitter Rock. I use this a number of times. This is going to go out though, as well as the Moon Dust Quad. I use this quite a bit. I don't know if you can see there. I got quite a bit of dipping in a number of these shades here. Can you see that? It's hard to tell, but I did use it a number of times, so that's going to go out. And this Charlotte Tilbury Golden Goddess, this one's also going to come out. Can you see this? Ooh, let me get that there. I've got quite a bit of dipping happening everywhere, so I feel good about the use. It is pretty even use. That's going to go out. And then I'm going to bring both of these out. This one here is Slow Burn. This is actually belongs to my daughter, and I was just sampling it out to see if I liked it. I do. It'll go on a wish list, but I'm not going to do it right now. And then this one here is When the Sun Sets. I use this quite a bit this month as well. So that one's going to go out. These are also pigmented. Very little use goes a long way. I use this Bad Gal Bang quite a bit this month because from Benefit. This one technically expires this month. I may keep it in for a short bit. Let me see if I can figure out what color. It is a 6-month expiration. I'm not having any issues, and I finally figured out how to use it to where it wasn't like all the way down my face. So I can't find the color on here. I think this is seasonal because it's not currently available. I'm going to leave this in. I think I would like to do some more work with that. The Kosas Magic, I think I'm about to hear on it. I've been using that a lot. And then I used my Ambient Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundations. I used those all month long. It was the only foundation I used. You might be able to see some of the windowing right here. And I did draw a line because I checked and I was all the way down to here as of like yesterday, the day before. So I will still need to use this, although I don't have to use it exclusively. But I promised myself that I was not going to open my Dior foundation until I finished these foundations. So I still need to commit to using those probably 3 days a week. But I am going to be allowed to now open up my Kosas Skin Revealer. Can you see that? I have it in the color, what color do I have this in? Oh geez, it's going to be ones that I can't read. If you can read it there, more power to you. But I'm going to be allowed to open this now because that was the promise and commitment I made to myself. Which means I get to use some of my primers that I really enjoy. All right, so things that I'm going to leave over here are going to be my Dolba First Serum Spray. I always use that. The Tatcha. This is feeling pretty light. It's the Tatcha Silk Sunscreen. It's feeling pretty light. They got that little ball in there, and I think that's really what I'm hearing. And then I use this exclusively with the Hourglass, and I don't use it with my Kosas. I use my other Kosas. And my Scandinavia, this is my favorite setting spray, and I'm just about out on this one, but I'm going to leave this in. I've got another setting spray that I'm going to come in. I'm going to keep them both in here, but now I'm able to put the Morphe in there, put that in there. I'm still going to keep these guys in here, and then I'm going to go and gather up my other makeup that I'm going to use for this month, and we're going to bring it in. Okay. Hey y'all. Okay, so let's get to picking out the makeup that I'm going to use for the month of August. As a reminder, this is where I store everything when not in use. My whole collection does fit into this top section of this drawer system. Any back stock items, though, I keep in the lower container. And when I say backstock, I mean like mascaras and things like that, where I ordered a bunch, got freer for 100 points from Sephora or other kinds of things like that. All right, so let's go ahead and start with not mascara, eyeshadow. All right, so I'm thinking, okay, so I've got two eyeshadows that I'm going to be keeping in my daily section so that I can work on them as part of my project pan. So the first one is the Cabernet Blush from Morphe. And then the second one that I just added into that is my Sigma uh, Brulee that I just realized expires after 12 months and I want to get some good use on it. So I'm going to keep that in there. All right, so that means I already have a 4-pan palette, a little quad that I'm going to be keeping there until, for many, many months. So I really feel like I can only do 2 quads as opposed to the 3 quads that I've been doing. So I think what I want to do is, I think I want to do, I want to do the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. Make sure you guys can actually see on here. Yes. This one, I've got a lot of movement on. You can see I've got like a huge dip in here. I got a huge dip here. There is some dipping here too. And this is truthfully one of my very favorites. And I did just have where Charlotte Tilbury was doing a very large sale on their site. And it was 3 quads for the price of $90 some. So it ended up being 50% off. And I had kind of already decided that if I saw that, I would take that as my reason to go ahead and stock up. And so I did get a backup Pillow Talk as well as 2 others that I had been eyeballing and missed the boat on when they left Sephora, and just felt like this is probably them going away. I'm going to get them, but I'm not opening them because I need to not have so many quads going on. The other one I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to go ahead and do this Moon Dust from Urban Decay. This one has, what colors are in here? I don't know. Can you guys see that? Let me just put it all the way up there, see if y'all can see that. Let's see here. Can you see that? Boop. There we go. Those are the colors that are on there. It's the Moon Dust Space Cowboy Quad. So I think this one was probably from 2024, because the 2025, which is all purples and it's just called Moon Dust, I think. I actually have that one currently in my makeup. I've been loving using that all month. This one has some really pretty colors. Okay, so it's messy because this one was my daughter's and she is always dropping hers. So I do need to figure out how to like repress this one a little bit better. I'm not going to do the whole rubbing isopropyl alcohol to repress though, because I just did that with something else, a blusher that I dropped, and it really did change the integrity. So I'm going to try see if I can press this without using anything else. I think there's a little bit enough moisture content. I think it might work. All right, so that's going to be the 2 that I work with this time. And I oftentimes, okay, so this is my Space Cowboy. I don't think I'm going to throw that into the mix, but I do think I want to put this one in as well, just a single. I did do a single this last time when I did my purple quad, and it's a similar thing to the Space Cowboy, and I think it was called like Rock Crush or something like that. I'm not going to call it by the right thing. They describe it as a pink, but it's really like a purple. I don't know. All right, so this one's from Kiko Milano. I got this when I was in Rome. Let me see if you can see this color on here. Can you see the shimmer of that? Not great, huh? Okay. It is really super shimmery. Let me try if I put it on this side. How about now? Can you see it? I think you can see it a little bit better like that. It is so pretty, you guys. Oh, okay. So I'm going to put that in there too. So I've got a little bit of something to play with on that. And then I am going to bring in this liquid shadow from Armani. It's $25. I went back to Sephora and I swatched them so that I knew which colors, and then I wrote it in Sharpie, and then I taped over it. So hopefully it doesn't rub off this time. And I am still trying to decide which 22 or 25 am I going to stick with when I do go to renew. So we'll do that. And then we'll go ahead and bring this one back in. This is 67S Sparkle. We'll bring that in as well. And that is all that we're doing for the eyes. I think I could bring in the Talk to My Team from Patrick Ta. I'll go ahead and bring it in, and maybe I'll work with that with some of the Armanis. Okay, so that is it for eyes. Powders, I am going to bring my Hourglass back in. So you guys, as a reminder, here's this one. Very pretty flat on these guys, still a little doming here. I would like to kind of flatten that out a little bit. I'll bring that in, and then I think I'm also going to, this one actually was my daughter's. It's from Tarte. I'm not sure if this is even really available. This is the 18N, Fairly Light Neutral. She used it quite a bit. I'm just going to kind of see how I like with this in place of like kind of along the lines of the Hourglass. You know, I don't do a ton of powder, but I do drop some powder down on my eyelids to just hold in for priming. And that way all of the powders go on nicely. And then I do kind of set everything down. And so we'll see if that does that or not. All right, so that's it for that. Then I want to go ahead and do in some blushers. I'm going to bring in the Say again. This is in Lady. It's a liquid. It's a mini. And I really, I am starting to feel like I have too much blush happening in the liquid to cream category. I did have one of my younger daughter's friends just came and gave me a 3-pack of cream stick blusher. I have not opened them. They're in my inventory, so it's making me feel like I have a lot more than I maybe do. But I do want to kind of go through some of these things. This one's going to expire sometime in the new year. Like, I still have a little bit of time, but I do want to kind of get through it, and then I'll decide if this is a repeat or if I'm going to, you know, go on some other ones. All right, so that's what I'm going to do in regards to that. And as far as the liquids go, I am also going to bring this back in, the Charlotte Tilbury Matte, and this is in Pillow Talk. I'm going to bring this back in. I've got some good movement. You can see I'm like halfway through that, but I'm going to bring that back in. And I did already use up that large size, the Pinkgasm, last July 1st. I actually finished that up. But, so I haven't been using that all a month. So I had taken that, that matte out because I didn't have the Pinkgasm. But I've got these minis of the Pinkgasm and then this other color, which I can't remember the name of it right now. But these are liquid. This one, it's pretty bright. And then we've seen this one before. So I'm going to bring these as highlights and kind of play around with those some more. I would like to get those finished out over the next several months because one, if they come back as holiday minis, these were holiday minis, then I can always get them again. But also, I just feel like I have a lot of highlighters in my inventory. And so I do want to kind of breeze through those liquids and get those moved out. So I'm not going to bring in any of my others. Like, I'm not going to bring in this rose gold one that I really like that I can never open. It's got a little bit of a pan here. And it's pretty low in most areas. But you know what? Like, the powders don't really expire, you know what I mean? So, and I've seen where people talk about this one here. This is the Fenty Diamond Balm, and they've had this for years and it's been completely fine. So I'm not going to worry about those because I really do want to be able to get through some of those liquids. As far as blushers go, I am going to bring in my Patrick Ta. As a reminder, here's where we're at. Let me lift this up so you can see I've got like quite a bit of pan there. I have no embossing left. I've got a lot of divots. This one is soft launch. I'm going to bring that in. I've worked on that She Goes to the Gym probably 25 days out of the month of July, maybe even more than that. And I swear it looks like I haven't used any of it. That one's wild to me. Okay. And then as far as the blushers, dry blush goes, I will go ahead and bring both of these guys back in. I'm going to bring in the House Labs. This is in Hibiscus Haze. And then I'm also going to bring this Ofra Bellini back in. So you can see I've hardly used it. I mean, I used it a number of times, but they just don't look like I really used them. And ones that I have that I actually haven't even opened up yet would be this Fenty Beauty. I actually bought this at, was it Marshall's or TJ Maxx, one of those, in Riri. And I'm going to wait on this guy. I got it because they don't really have them around anymore, but I did want to get it. But I think it's really close to She Goes to the Gym. So I want to try to get through more of that before I even intro that. But I didn't want to miss the boat on it. And then this one here is, this one is from Flower Nose. And it's a rose colored one. Look how pretty that is. It's so pretty. I have been coveting these. I loved the little packaging. It's pretty heavyweight. But I recognized I did not need to open something else up. But it was 50% off the Prime days. And I had previously said, like, oh, if I ever see that on sale, I'm going to go ahead and grab one. So that's why I did that when I did, even though I didn't really need a blusher at the time. All right, so that's that. I am still working on my mascara and liners and all of that stuff and lip liners in my supply over there that I always keep in my makeup area, so I don't need to switch out anything for that. And for the rest of it, like foundation, I've been using that Hourglass throughout all of July, and I made a lot of headroom, but there is still more room to be done there, so that's where I'm at with all of that. And I don't need to, I'm actually going to be organizing that in a different way. When I did some rearranging in my bathroom and cleaned out my medicine cabinet, so I'm actually keeping all of my sunscreens and primers and foundations in that spot, and I don't need to keep it in my little container anymore. I might just for ease, but I will in this new month be allowing myself to use my Kosas foundation. I am still going to be using the Hourglass because I have not completely finished it out. So I will still 2 to 3 days a week need to use that because I do want to completely finish it before I am allowed to bring into my usage the Dior foundation that I bought at the April Sephora sale. So the deal that I made with myself was I can't open that and start using it until I finish out the Hourglass, and I am not done with the Hourglass. So that's where I'm at on that. All right, so this is going to be the makeup that I'm using for the month of August. I am looking forward to the ones that I have. And I know that although it looks like I really have just more of like a rosy red tones with between these guys here, I do still have, you know, some neutrals right there, but then also that Sigma has some neutral tones to it, and it's gonna work out just fine. All right, that is that. We'll go put this into the organizer. Okay, so magic of editing, you've seen me pick out the makeup for this month. So let's just go ahead and get it put into place. I do just really love putting my Patrick Ta blusher right there. And I do prefer putting my powders over there. And as a reminder, I'm only having the 2 quads that I'm bringing in because I've got a quad and a 9-pan that are gonna stay in until they're all finished up. So let me go ahead and get all of my blushers in here, and I've got another powder right there, and let's get my single eyeshadow can go right there next to, so I'm gonna move it in here a little bit, right here next to my double. And then I'm going to, oh, I had this one last month too. I'm going to take this out. This was my, which one? Petal, West Atelier. So I'm going to take that out as well. And I'm going to take this lipstick out of here just because it's getting a little messy. I don't like how messy this is. But right now I feel like I'm kind of stuck with the messy because of the way things are. Oh, and I'm taking out 22 because I brought in 25. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and keep all of those in there. All of my liquid eye in there. And then I've got some highlighters and a blusher here. I didn't bring in any powder highlighters because I want to use up those 2 liquid. And then I've got this liquid blusher as well. So I'll just stick that guy there. And let's see if we can get this to just kind of hang out here. Once I move that sunscreen, I think it'll be a little bit easier. And let's see. I think I'm going to have to slip this back down in this drawer. That's where I had been previously keeping it. All right. So that's that. We're a little bit full. Hopefully we'll get some movement going. And yeah, I think I'm going to end up with a few empties this month. As I use things, for instance, this Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion original formula. It's a mini and it does seem like it's getting like pretty low there. And I really think that Anastasia Beverly Hills half-tone contour, even though I've got it up in the container up in the medicine cabinet, I think I'm going to finish that one out. So I think I'll be able to bring my new one in and then I won't be working out of the cabinet anymore. And this brow definer, I am so close to the end on this. I think I only have a week's worth left in there, maybe. Same thing with this Gimme Brow. I think neither one of those have very much left. So I'll free up a little space in that. All right, so this is what I'm working with for the month of August. And I am looking forward to doing some new makeup stuff. I was getting very bored with doing the Hourglass foundation the whole month. I don't love it. I upheld the commitment to myself though. And I am really looking forward to bringing in some of my other blushers because I miss them. Okay, thank you.